Well, that was nice seeing the duckies, because a truly horrible thought came over me as I was walking out here. I'm like, boy, I need to really take a walk. My hip was doing funny things. And it's this one, that one, like, gluteus medius, really. And really what it is it's the belt nerve. So most men, this happens after so long in life, that your belt being compressing this nerve that runs along, it runs basically sort of under the anterior superior iliac crest, and above the, I want to say, greater trochanter of the femur. So where that ball and socket joint is, that bend that it takes to go into the socket, okay, so that space there, that wheel well of your leg, for like a lot of men, this never comes up in men's health. The belt compresses that nerve, and so that runs in the pubic bone, into the sacrum. So sometimes you'll find that there will be certain things you'll sit down on if you've got pants that are, you could feel they're on, but they're compressing those nerves. Your legs might go numb, or some part of your hip, maybe even kind of a sense of almost like your nuts going numb. That's all compression of those nerves. And that's why it's like hanging, like literally grabbing hold of something and hanging and letting your legs hang in those joints, that it'll help your hips in the long run and help your low back. That works wonders. We don't do it enough. We're not taught that enough, because real physical health through exercise died in the 50s gym classes. The baby boomers didn't like it, and so it was it died. And you would find some schools that would still have some of those progressive calisthenics, but they died and kind of came back with the advent of Dragon Door and the kettlebell, Pavel Tsatsouline, and convict conditioning, and a few other guys. There was a few other dudes who had books on a wide variety of calisthenics from the old days, with progressive calisthenics being like how a person could go from bridge to bridge, that kind of stuff, and things like that, and handstands, such like. So what I started considering in Mises' Praxeology, one of the things that is very important is that it's understood polylogy. It's considered one of the key failures of economists, of all thinking. It could fall into lots of realms of thinking. But he was saying that it's one of the things that really failed economic thinking in another time. And so, like, every time I think about how you would talk about polylogy, I usually think about it in ways that it's almost funny, like, so at some point, nobody would have thought of the importation of the tomato to continental Europe would be confined to the Mediterranean. No one could have ever thought of this. It's not something that it's like and so polylogy, the failure that is polylogy in praxeology is there's something intrinsic to Italians that makes them like tomatoes. That of course, it would never hold out. So you could easily experiment this. It wouldn't hold. So they would say, yes, humans don't have intrinsic issues that like that. And so people don't like do the certain kinds of dances because they're those kind of people forever and all times. That's because he's like, that's a fundamental failure that's made a lot of economics not work, and a lot of different realms of thought. Well, so One of the important things that he introduces with this failure of thinking, polylogy, in philosophy is that he opens up, could you be arguing that? Could you be arguing polylogy, or is something not like meeting the sniff test? Try polylogy. What's not meeting the sniff test about the gender sexuals? The polylogy of it. That somebody, and people keep doing this. They keep going, well, okay, let's take this to its logical course. But what this really is getting into is, no. So, without knowing this theory, you could not see this inherent quality that cannot be excised from the person. And only an expert can see this, that they desire some weird sexual act. And only an expert can understand this. And so therefore, there's a lot of interesting logical arguments that come from this, that you have these fundamentally mating or reproductive polylogists that understand that there's all of these things that are not, and so now let's start getting into the factors of it. They're not biologically bound. It's not genetic. Doesn't see it. You would not see this if something called society weren't teaching people to suppress this type of reproductive polylogy. See, because otherwise, I started thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, because otherwise you would have fundamentally what we have. You would have human biological science, that you would just go over how does the human reproduce. This is showing solidly Mises' example of the error of polylogy in philosophy. That's an inherent quality. Only an expert can excise that inherent quality from these people. Everyone has to dance around now this strange inherent thing about this person that only an expert can find out. None of you can see it. None of you will know. And in fact, we have to find this. An expert has to find this out while somebody's a child. Oh boy. Oh, the more my mind goes through the logic of this, the more I'm like, holy shit. Holy shit. You see, because if society gets to the child too quickly, they won't realize their sexual polylogy. They won't understand that they have a unique sexy. They have a unique gender sexy. And that very unique gender sexy means that nobody can understand them except for this kind of special guru of gender sexy that they need to have discussions with about their gender sexy. It's very important that this guru has access to children to talk about the gender sexy. And because you see, parents aren't qualified for that. Remember, some of these people are proposing at state legislative levels that there's some type of group of experts in this, so expert that they realize you are hurting your child by not exposing them to a gender sexy expert, who will then start teaching them of how they have some inherent gender sexy. It can't be seen, it can't be really, you can only feel it by feeling it in your mind. It's not in your feet, it's not in your hands, it's not like Borborygmus. It's not like a case of the shingles. No. This is gender sexy, and it's you all the time. This is saying, like, why teach blacks to read? Because we have there's a bunch of blacks who they learn to read real slow. So why even teach them to read? It's an inherent quality of theirs that it doesn't even matter. Like, which Oregon. So this makes sense. You start to see how very logically this starts to tie to other political things. Like how in Oregon, for the sake of the people of color, you no longer have to be able to read and do mathematics at an adult level. You don't need to really qualify for graduation to qualify for graduation. For the sake of the people of color, which black people make about 4% of the population of Oregon. I think it's something like, it's what you're really looking at is this would have to be an argument that Native Americans and Hispanic people can't graduate unless that's done. That's the only way this argument would work, by the actual, like, numbers of, like, well, who would you have to be talking about? Who's this large number of non-whites that would not graduate if it weren't for this new set of qualifications or lack thereof? But you can see, so that's Mises's, Ludwig von Mises's polylogy, at the street level, street level philosophy, here for you with the ducks of the slough. But, this absolutely then, the reason why also this is important is because then there's all these horrible things that could be, horrible aspersions that you could cast. So because of the likelihood of, say, I know, we don't apply polylogy in this way, so that it's like, oh yeah, well, you've got to watch out for how many average-looking white chicks you hire in education, because they have a very high likelihood of molesting children. That's true. It's not true. It's trying to say this with males. You don't have. This is one of these things that we don't like discussing right now in America, is how much women molest children in education and in public education specifically, and that it far dwarfs what we saw in the Catholic school system. Now, we don't apply that polylogy. There's no point at which that we're suddenly like, oh yeah, we gotta look out for, hiring this totally normal demographic to work in schools. It's like, and because of course, again, you can't see it. You can't. It's just, there's some expert who would determine, which would be the law if they're a child molester. But but that kind of application. So now you're seeing the Democrats are now caught in using polylogy, the error of polylogy, over and over and over. They keep having to use it because it's so intrinsic to their erred thinking. And so there starts coming up one of the things that, like, this really just, wow, it just hit me. Okay, the whole thing about how dare you men not vote the way we wanted. So note what the headline said. Black men, black vote, overwhelming, amazing numbers of votes for Joey B, for Glass Pipe Joey B. And, but yet, all these black men had voted for Trump, but really when you looked at the numbers, this wasn't some humongous number of people. But what happened? What happened first time around? First time you started getting articles. Then came black internet and black female internet talking all kinds of stuff about black men voting for Donald Trump. Beyond that, next election, what happens? Well, supposedly, Glass Pipe Joey B, being the most popular ever, he gets quote unquote elected. And but what happens? We're still catching all kinds of shit in black internet. How dare you vote for Donald Trump? You blah blah blahs and this and that's and all kinds of stuff. Again. But it's like, wait, I thought Glass Pipe Joey B was like the most popular president that's ever been, though. What did we do? Well, I think what it is that the message went out from inside the party. You know what really happened. And they voted for him again. So ladies, tear them to ribbons. And that's what you're seeing on Black American internet. And black men are like, fuck you, I'm going to the Philippines. I'm marrying a nice white church girl, And so okay, keep following me on this one. Because I think there's something to this. Why would they be mad if it had gone the way they said it had gone? If it had gone the way that supposedly the headline said it went, why would anybody be upset? It didn't go the way the headline said. That's the secret in the sauce. It didn't go the way the headline said. And when they had to reinforce certain places, so start walking through that, when they started reinforcing certain places, what demographic lives there? You didn't vote right, gentlemen. And they mad. They know. They worked at the polling places. You saw those fat faces in the pictures at the polling places. Oh, yeah. So, otherwise it would be big up black men. You voted in Glass Pipe Joe Biden. That's not what they say. So, and everybody's extra pre-mad. They're all amped up, pre-mad at black men for supporting Trump, and all these cats who are showing up saying it was better under him. I made more money. I was doing better. Blah blah. And so now think of it this way: group punishment. Obviously, there's something about you niggers that you just don't understand. What you need to do. So we're going to teach you a lesson. There's no cops. And we're not going to tell anybody what's happening to you. And we're going to all just watch. And then we're going to keep denying it's happening to you. Now, anybody who really knows much history about the Democratic Party, most people, if they only read headlines, they would be like, oh, Democrats would never do that. But if you knew about the Democratic Party, you would know. No, they would do that. Oh my God. Do you know what kind of motherfuckers you're talking about? And that's what you're seeing. Group punishment. Good old-fashioned group punishment. We're going to show you. That's what it is. And people could just be like, oh, no, but I believe, I love her. I love the Democratic Party. I'm in love with my baby. She would never do that to me. Yeah. Polylogy. In the many ways. And notice that way is intrinsic to the human creature from some subject group that you're looking at. An error in the way that people analyze human behavior. Ludwig von Mises, Praxeology, Human Action. Let's hear it for our Austrian boy. All you've got to start doing is taking some of this stuff and using it. It was that the way that I even came upon this way of thinking was actually from the Kabbalists. To use the Sephiroth, you see through, you view the world through the Sephiroth. You view the world through wisdom. You view the world through understanding. You view the world through victory. You view the world through splendor. And so that's when I'm like, no. So this has to work kind of backwards. What would this be if I worked it backwards? And Polylogy would show me, no, there's obviously elements of our society that the way they behave, it would make sense that they apply intrinsicness to individuals, a group intrinsicness. You have to vote the way we want. You're ours. You're ours. We made you. Remember, who put it in the comments if you've heard that one on some of these shows. Where you come from. So this idea of, we're a hive mind. This mestizo Afro-American hive mind. Torquing and burning and torquing. and you have to, and if you don't go along with it, you don't understand. You are one of us. You can't rebel. And I love it because the entire black manosphere has found this out, has found out that their own aunts, their own sisters really think of it like, nigger, you're going to do what we say. And that they think this at a level of the group, that black men aren't individuals who have an individual vote, have an individual interests. And that now that's starting to really come up, where these guys are like, my individual interests are to marry somebody who I want to start a family with. And that if it's not one of them, that, it's worth killing over. It's worth hurting people over to them. And so this starts to get into, this is the mind of the polylogist. That if that which goes against the many ways inherent to the group requires you getting put back in line, which of course one would instantaneously be like, yeah, this is completely the thinking of people who would be into Marxism, be into, various hard forms of Marxist thinking, like fascism or National Socialism or Kemalism or something like that. So it's like that's a really good one, actually. The result of Turks becoming more and more non-Islamic. They will assault anyone in their country who in any way defies the order of society. In any way. Like openly. And then call friends over to help with it. And that it's like, okay, so this is supposed to be a law and order. All my life, motherfuckers were bragging about, no. That is such a beautiful country. It's so amazing. So modern. Blah, blah, blah. And now, we get this idea of, no, but if you defy social order, you could be openly beaten up. Because that's Kemalism. And so, I'm kind of liking now that, I'm kind of liking that so much of this is becoming mask off. And now there's even the thing of, you aren't against Israel or this, that, and the other. And they're pointing their fingers. How dare you? Get him, Ethan Klein, get him. And Ethan Klein's like, I'm not even religious. What the fuck is happening here? Yeah.